your journey. The exposure you build over time is probably the most important. If you take the first job just because of the salary and the location or whatever, that's not going to bring you very far.
Comfort zone is basically the killer of your growth.
It should come as a reward and not as a target. I really try to make myself proud of what I'm doing every day and make sure that what I'm doing every day makes me happy. Risk is something that you manage. It's not something that you react to. Cultural fits, for sure. Skills is something you can teach and you can learn. Attitude and cultural or value fit is something that you cannot transform.
Hello everyone. Today we have Philippe with us. So Philippe has over 2 decades of finance experiences and he has led multicultural and diverse team and has held leadership role across the globe, including in the countries like France, China, Singapore, Australia, and Canada. Currently, he is Group CFO at Smardt Chillers. So join me to welcome Philippe to the show. Philippe, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Mia.
We'll try to uh, uncover your entire journey, and so that my audience and I can learn from your experiences and see that how we can implement all those learning into our life. If you can talk about your starting, right? I mean, like your journey, your first job, your education, and any pivotal moment that led you to become CFO.
Okay. Yeah, actually, that's maybe a bit of a misconception for a young professional to look at education as the stepping stone. Of course, it's play an important role, but at the end of the day, is not the most relevant point of your journey. The exposure you build over time is probably the most important. Having the ability to look and take most of the people you are working with, the lecturer you have to be exposed to during your education is really important. That was the case when I studied with Imperial College. I had a lot of very good lecturer, but as well, I did this master after 15 years plus of professional experience. Also,
Wow.
the way it correlates to my experience
Uh-huh.
was also very different from your initial background. So getting those exposure and building up on it is important. Actually, it was the same with the CPA. I did start the CPA after more than 20 years of professional experience, where people usually started right after their initial study. And that gave me another perspective of my professional field. So yeah. So that's it about the professional exposure that you need to focus on. Yeah.
Okay. If you can also talk to us about your first job.
So my first job, again, the decision to take a job or another one is very important, especially in the very beginning. So I would say if you take the first job just because of the salary and the location or whatever, that's not going to bring you very far. So you really need to, and that was the case for me. I took the first job. Actually, it was an industrial plant in the very remote place of France that where nobody would never be looking at for relocation. But I was interested in taking this position because it was an industrial financial controller role. It was a large company at that case, at that time, case. This huge company building tractor and transmission for tractors, so very large plant. I think it was 3,000 people over there. So I took the decision, bring my wife over there, even though it was not the nicest place, and I don't remember the salary, but it was probably below anything I was dreaming of. Um, and then we took the second biggest decision. So I stayed there for don't remember, maybe a bit of more than 2 years, 2 years plus. And then my wife was always telling me, I never want to live in Paris. It's too busy. We are not from Paris downtown, so it's difficult to adapt. And the second job I took was in Paris.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I had this opportunity to join Veolia as again a financial controller for Middle East,
Mhm.
based in Paris. The job was perfect because the company was really very large and listed company,
Wow.
meeting all my values, personal values in terms of sustainability, everything. Um, the job was international exposure. So if you were looking at all the criteria, there was a lot of things to increase exposure and
Wow.
get benefits of it. So I seized the opportunity. I managed to convince my wife that we can live in Paris, and we took the decision there. So
Awesome.
the bottom line, and what I'm trying to say here is again, um, having the ability to seize opportunities when they arise is very important. And when there is an opportunity which come around the corner, it comes with a lot of negative points, of
Wow.
fears, of challenges that usually keeps you away from taking the leap and jumping on it.
Right.
So you have to see the opportunity and seize it when it comes in.
Right. Right. Even although most of us can relate here, and I'll just try to conclude this for all our listeners here. I mean, seize the opportunity and be mindful of your first job and seize the opportunity as they come. Great. Great. Great.
Correct. And they are all learning, so make sure that you will learn in the process. Don't go for the comfort of yeah, it's a big company, I can hide and get a good salary and do my activities. Exposure is the most important, especially when you are young. Take the plane, take the again. When I started my first jobs, I took assignment that the other will not like. So I was traveling. I was taking the 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 assignment of an IT project, whatever. Everything is good to increase your exposure and your learning.
Right. Right. So out of the comfort zone, right? Comfort zone is basically the killer of your growth. Right. Right.
It is, yeah, yeah.
Right.
But
Great.
it should not be your. It should come as a reward and not as a target.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Philippe, tell us, like, no, you had around, I mean, you have around, 2 decades of experiences, right? And now you are at a level where you're contributing the most to the company. Right? So
Mhm.
tell us how someone can get to your role, I mean, get into a leadership role where they can maximize their contribution to the organization in a in a shorter span. I mean, like you had the experience, the journey of 2 decades, right? How someone can reduce their time to reach the leadership role.
Okay, that's a difficult question. First, I would say I never pursue any career plan. So I never put myself and at any point of the time, even recently, uh, with objective of taking the next role in 2 years time or that type of mentality. I really um, try to make myself proud of what I'm doing every day,
Mm.
and make sure that what I'm doing every day makes me happy. So that's really important. Looking for really exposure opportunities and learnings, but not just looking for responsibility titles or having this type of pressure of reaching certain level at a certain age. I never been into that type of things. Really, that came a bit by chances, I would say.
Great.
At every step, taking the maybe the right decision and
Hmm.
taking the right opportunity.
Great, great.
Um, the second thing I would probably highlight here is that the more you grow in your career, the more you are reliable on, or you rely on your team.
Hmm.
So interpersonal skill, ability to read people, to motivate a team, to build a strong team around you is much more important that your just personal skills. You don't run a company by one or two people. That's a global environment, so you have to behave as a leader in the way that people are taking most or are making most of their impact to the company. So you have to read people. It's more and more difficult because when you have only a team of 10, you can have personal interaction with the 10 of them. When you have 30, it's a bit more difficult. And when you start to have 50 or plus of direct report in your team, you have to teach your manager how to do that and build their team around themselves. So
Right.
that's very important. So you never reach, uh, I would say, those roles by yourself
Mhm.
is because also of your ability to work with people.
Awesome. Great. So, I have one question. No, I wanted to ask you, like, what do you see in a person when you hire them for a leadership role? I mean, what personality trait you see in a person, or any particular skill that you see in a person before you hire them for a leadership role?
Well, first I would say potential. Yes, you need to hire people based on the potential that you see.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the achievement, actually, resume or interviews is is an exercise of itself, but doesn't mean much. So you need to feel very quickly the potential of the person, and usually the attitude. That's probably the criteria for recruitment. If you see someone with a positive attitude, with the ability to navigate in evolving role and positively, so taking every challenge as an opportunity. That's the kind of attitude these people will contribute to the organization. Uh, Attitude of people who are very defensive, who try to limit their scope to the job description and trying to just be that type of role. It can be okay as a very a contributor level, but as manager or key contributor, that there will be some limitation down the road. That's for sure.
Sure. Great, great, great. Perfect. So I see. Just wanted to dive into your entire journey. So you started your career in like big nineties, right? I mean, like I mean, early 2000, I would say. And then
Yep.
you must have seen email coming up, right? Email started like around. Then
Sure.
Google came, right? Then Google came up.
You
Then in
speak with
2000,
my daughter. Yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm making you feel about.
They think I've been raised in a time without TV and
Right, right. So, I mean, you must have seen email coming up. You must have seen Google coming up. Then Amazon launched their cloud technology in 2006, 7, right? So then you must have seen like, analytics coming up in 2016, 14, 16, 17. And now this generative AI, right? So how do you see this entire technology evolution and how the entire digital transformation kind of helped you in your career? Or if it is currently helping you?
always a bit prudent. I think people start to think that the technological shift can be done overnight.
Right.
Actually, all what you are describing is very, very incremental, step by step. So this is also my approach with technology. You need to keep your eyes open. You need to keep you aware of what's going on, but you don't have to jump on everything because it's some of this doesn't have any ROI,
Right.
return on investment.
Mhm.
Sometimes is just fancy but doesn't bring value to the organization. So you need to, and that's my approach, is to target a task, see technology as a enabler of increase of the productivity of the company. So every time, yes, there is benefits, there is an increase of productivity, there is a ROI. So let's investigate and implement. So a very prudent approach in that aspect, but also not being shy of being an early adopter of technology,
Mhm.
because you always have a benefits in getting an early adoption of the technology. Again, you screen your criteria. Is it going to improve my productivity or the productivity of my team, my company? And then when I say ROI is everything. So it's implementation cost, savings, but also post implementation, training, maintaining, etc. But yeah,
Awesome.
you cannot avoid those trends. You need to keep your eyes open for sure.
So, Philip, that brings me to one question. So, how do you apply these technology into financial strategies? I mean, like, how, because these technology changes keep happening every decade, right? I mean, as I said, in 2006, then in 2015, 16, and now it's like generative AI, LLM model. So, how do you apply these technology into financial strategies? If you can talk about
Well, actually, this is probably the other way around. Is first the companies have a strategy,
that. Okay.
which is, I would say, um, um, driven by the market, by your industry, by your corporate values, and what as a corporate we try to achieve.
Mhm.
And the technology is just an enabler. So when your strategy is clear, then you see how you can use those technology to enable and improve your strategy. But you don't start with the technology in the first place. It's not my generation.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So basically, you see the business need first, and then you apply the technology around it, right? So, I mean,
As an enabler and yes, an improvement of the way you process it for productivity, for those type of things, for speed, for
great, great, great. So, I mean, need not to jump into any technology that has been introduced. See if it's adding values to the organization, and if it is adding any ROI to the introduction of that particular technology. Great, great, great. Perfect. So
yeah, correct.
now,
Especially because those technology can be very very expensive
hmm,
for corporate. So the pitfall is maybe to start. Spreading you a lot of new technologies coming every second month or every second year, and not keeping your focus on what the company has to deliver as a corporate. Especially, I'm talking because we are an industrial company at
mhm.
Smart, and I've been working for industrial companies. I'm not saying that digital companies may not have a different agenda, but for our industry is this way. Definitely.
Right, right. So I understand, like, no, you are mostly into like sustainable companies, right? No, that has been survived for like almost a decade, and you worked in like big companies. So just tell us, like, what is one most significant financial risk that you came across, and like, how did you handle it? Because I think a lot of finance professional watching this will have that in mind, like if any financial risk that you came across and that helped you to learn and mitigate. I mean, like, how do you do that?
Well, I've got a lot of example. I don't know if we need to
Yes,
go
I
in.
mean, I would love to hear
Yeah.
that. At least few.
Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. The risk is the risk management is a key aspect of CFOs at every level of the organization.
Mhm.
So you always need to have a plan. So risk is something that you manage. It's not something that you react to it. You have to know your risk and have an idea of how to mitigate that. If you come unprepared, especially on very large organization, you will be beaten by all the topics around you. So get prepared. Have always a plan A, B, C, D, and a mitigation scenario. That's it. Again, there is a risk in currencies, in geopolitical, in compliance, in governance, in everywhere. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's the environment we are navigating. Yeah.
So, well, you have been into the industry for like, I mean, a good amount of time, and like you've been around 2 decades, right? So, any significant trends that you've seen in financial industry that is coming up, or I mean, one should or any a new professional or early professionals should keep that in mind.
Yeah. There is a lot of things that I think is worth mentioning. So the first one is that the complexity increase. That's very clear. Uh, Regulation, governance, well, all the level of risk we just mentioned, geopolitical, macroeconomic, tension between East and West, all of that is increasing. So the complexity increase. So the level of specialities that financial professional needs to have are also increasing. A tax professional 20 years ago was navigating a very, very different environment than today. So that's very important to know what you are doing and to have around you those specialized people. So I'm not a specialized by background. I've been touching a lot of topic. So if you ask me, I have a good understanding of the basic notion of all those aspects of the finance. So from accounting to consolidation and tax, but I always need to rely on expertise because of the complexity of this world today.
Right.
And again, you need to build, and I do that every day. The team around you with this expertise, but also your partners. I mean, the consultants, your network of people doesn't have to be always professional, but you have to have those cycles where you can brainstorm, take advice, and take supports when it's required.
Great, great, great. Awesome.
Last point also that I would like to mention about sustainability because it's also I would say one of the biggest trends. So we have the technology
Wow.
that's for sure here in this time, but the sustainability is also one of the most important trend that people needs to look at.
Mhm.
And I would like to share a bit of insight here. And again, back to what we were saying, sustainability is decision that comes from the value of the corporate. Most of the time, any sustainability actions is not demonstrating the best ROI of the company. There is a lot of other projects that be financed and have a better ROI. So the decision in investing in sustainability actions is always driven by the value of the corporate and the leadership team. So that's something also important, and that part of the decision I always took when joining a company is
Mhm.
make sure that they have those sustainability agenda. So first in Veolia, as you know, they are one of the leader in environmental services. So this is quite obvious in their company profile. Socomec and now Smardt are maybe not that obvious. In Smardt, for example, we are doing all free chiller. We are the leader in all free chillers, and we are helping to reduce energy consumption by providing high efficiency chillers, and also trying to optimize the total life cycle of a product. So all this one is ultimately contributing to fight the climate change and those sustainability actions. So and that's key in all my decision driving and joining a company, to have this sustainability topic behind the scene.
So, we're almost to the conclusion of our discussion. I just want to know uh, if you have any suggestions for young professionals in finance, people those who are trying to make a shift to finance, or they're already in finance and looking to make big in their career. So, if you have any suggestions for them, and if you can tell us anything that can help.
Yeah, but I will re-emphasize what I said in first place is look for exposure. Be consistent. I see a lot of people, and especially the young generation, who think that 3 months is a big time. So no, experience build over time. So don't rush the process. Don't jump every 6 months to the next opportunity without getting most of what you can get from your current experience. That's make the big difference along the way. Your ability to get a lot of exposure and to learn from it is most important. Second thing is don't compromise on your value. You need very quickly to know what is your value, because the more you grow, the more your value is defining the way you drive companies, organization. So you have to be very clear in the very beginning of what are the value which fits your personality. Don't go in an organization which is not aligned with your personal values, because that's for sure a recipe for failure. So this is also what we try to assess when we interview people for our job, is making sure that there is a fit in terms of value. That's important. Yeah.
Right. So, one last question: what would you prefer, skill or cultural fit? If you have to pick one.
Cultural fit for sure. Skills is something you can teach and you can learn. Attitude and cultural or value fit is something that you cannot transform or you cannot change in someone. So yeah, definitely the fit and the value.
Awesome. Great. I know you're short on time. Smart Chiller is definitely safe in your leadership. So,
Yes.
I mean, I know that we can go for hours with this discussion, but we'll try to keep it short. So, thank you so much for giving us the time, and thank you so much for this discussion.
Thanks a lot for inviting me first, and really I'm happy to share all these insights with your audience and your followers. I know there are plenty of them.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much.